What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Batman Dream Podcast. The podcast is about life, fandom, and all the other random shit in between. So on tonight's show, we're always going to start out talking about some life updates, but we do have some really fun topics in the world of fandom to talk about, and then what I hope is a little bit of an encouraging message by the end of the episode. So let's go ahead and dive right on in, okay? So with life updates, so right now I'm trucking along with the documentary. If you've been following my content, you know that I'm working on a documentary called Untapped Potential that is showcasing my journey into Magic the Gathering. So I'm continuing to push through with that, trying to make as good of episodes as I can. Finally kind of got ahead in the content, which is nice. So I'm continuing to truck along there. But the first and third Tuesday of every month is when new episodes drop. And I'm excited because we're finally out of the world of Final Fantasy, and we're talking about Magic the Gathering finally, and you know, how to learn how to play, the tips and tricks I received, that kind of stuff. So trucking along there, some new episodes on its way, which I'm excited about. But speaking of Magic the Gathering, I did something for the first time that I hadn't done ever, and that was play Magic the Gathering with strangers. I went to my local game store on an invite and ended up playing a couple of hands of Commander with some people that I didn't know. And I gotta tell you, it was a little bit nerve-wracking, to be honest. Like, not so much the gameplay, but just going to be able to play with people that I didn't know. And I'm not, like, I'm introverted to my core, but, like, because of my job, I'm an extroverted person, so I don't mind meeting strangers and stuff like that. But there was just something different about, like, going into a local game store, not knowing anybody, and sitting down and playing Magic, but it was fun. And I really am thankful for the individuals that I ended up playing with, because they were very understanding and patient with me as a newbie. And so, shout out to the Forgotten Labyrinth in Moore, Oklahoma. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me to come out. I definitely am looking forward to coming out and playing more there at your store. They're in Moore, Oklahoma, for those of you who are local here in Oklahoma. So yeah, that was exciting as well. And then we are prepping for our major side quest of the fall, and that is our Carnival cruise to Mexico, on which I do plan on playing some Magic the Gathering. I found somebody to be able to partner with and play online, or excuse me, not online. I found them online who's going on the same cruise to play, and you know, I think that I can probably talk my wife into playing a couple of hands while we're there. So I am taking my Magic the Gathering gameplay international, and I can't wait. But I do want to dive into a little bit of some of these, like, in regards to like the side quest portion of it, right? So we're gearing up for our first Carnival cruise. We've been on a cruise before. So last October, we went on an Alaskan cruise through Disney, and that was a lot of fun. And we took the whole family with us. And although the end of the cruise ended up being a little on the rough end because we had some family issues, some health issues and stuff like that, at the end of the day, it made for a very fun and exciting experience, and I'm very grateful that we got to go. I'm grateful that we got to take Grayson with us on that trip. But for this one, it's going to be a little bit different. So we're leaving the child with the grandma and grandpa, and we are going just Scarlett and I. And Scarlett and I, we've been on a few trips before together. We went to Disney World, we went to Disneyland, things like that. But like most people, we were super poor when we first got married. So, you know, fast forward 10 years into our marriage, we finally have some disposable income and are able to go out and enjoy and go on trips. So I'm incredibly grateful for the grandparents for watching Grayson while we're gone. But really looking forward to just getting away and spending a little bit of time with Scarlett and being able to, you know, just enjoy being together, because, you know, quite honestly, things have moved so fast in the last 5 years. I had started my career with Rally House, had opened, you know, a dozen stores with them just in Oklahoma alone, plus all the work I did for them across the company nationwide. Went on that cruise, that family trip, made a huge career change to leave Rally House, and did it for the betterment of what I hoped was my mental health, my family. And yeah, gonna be able to get away with the wife for a little bit, and I'm super excited about it. So be on the lookout. Definitely gonna make content from this video from this trip, and yeah, I can't wait. Do you have any tips for going on a Carnival cruise? Let me know. All right, let's dig into the world of fandom for a bit. So there's a couple of things that I really want to talk about. First things first, if you haven't seen, there's been some leaked images that come out of what Doctor Doom supposedly looks like in Avengers Doomsday. And these came from some marketing materials that were at some kind of expo overseas. And I gotta tell you, if these are true images of what Doctor Doom looks like, spot on. I've seen some reports that they can't find any version of this Doctor Doom in the comics. Like it's taken from different versions of Doctor Doom, and it looks like it's kind of made specifically for the MCU. And I think they look great. From a visual standpoint, this is exactly what I wanted Doctor Doom to look like. This is this is on Marvel does such a great job in their movies with their character design and the costume design, and honestly, like, they've taken some really radical costume ideas and pulled them straight out of the comics to be able to put on screen. One of which was like Wolverine, right? Like, the whole reason why we had never got yellow spandex Wolverines because people just thought it couldn't be done. Marvel takes over and is able to make Deadpool 3, and we get the Wolverine in the yellow suit like we've always wanted. So, I think, honestly, these Doctor Doom images are phenomenal. You could really mess this up, especially with Tony Stark or Robert Downey Jr., this variant of Doctor Doom. It would have been very tempting to have basically made an Iron Man suit. And although I'm sure that some of Doctor Doom's suit will be functional like an Iron Man suit would be, at the end of the day, like, I love this. If this is exactly what we're getting, if this is a clear picture of what we're getting, I think it's a great adaptation visually of what Doctor Doom should look like. But is it true? Is it real? I guess we'll have to kind of wait and find out. So although I love the suit, I gotta tell you, I have some genuine concerns here about Avengers Doomsday. So here's the thing. I was thinking about this the other day, and there's so many great movies coming out next year, but Doomsday is not the top of my list. And I had to really go back and think about when the last time a Avengers movie wasn't like at the top of my list for the most anticipated movie of the year. And yeah, I don't know if it's ever not been. When the first Avengers came out, like, I was pumped and ready for that from the moment they announced it. Age of Ultron, although I think is the weakest of the Avengers movies, still super excited, super pumped. And then Infinity War and Endgame, a whole nother fucking level. But Doomsday, I'm not as excited as I figured I would be. And I couldn't figure out why. And then I kind of realized, like, looking back at the Marvel Cinematic Universe and what we've gotten, especially post-Endgame, the main reason why I don't think I'm as excited for Avengers Doomsday as I normally would be for an Avengers movie is because I think that we are sacrificing story for some cool fan moments. Some cool fan service. There was a clear-cut vision of what Marvel had post-Endgame, and that was the multiverse, and that was the Kang Dynasty. And I know that, obviously, the actor got himself in some hot water. I know that Kang wasn't received as warmly as Marvel had hoped. The fact is that they had this story arc planned out and what they wanted to do. It was a Marvel storyline, like, just like phases 1 through 4. Like, we knew, like, we as audience didn't, but we knew as a Marvel, like, they knew exactly what they wanted to do and where they wanted to go, and they had to course correct. And looking back at it, I think that was the wrong decision, because not only has it made the movies feel even more disjointed and incohesive, but with us getting Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, at first I didn't view it. I can understand why people did view it this way, but I didn't view it as like a stretch or a reach. I didn't view it as them like being desperate and making desperate moves, I was like, okay, like I was excited. I thought like there's certainly possibilities here for this. But at the end of the day, like looking back at what they've done and knowing that we only have one more movie before Avengers Doomsday comes out, and that's Spider-Man Brand New Day, which is probably going to have some ties, obviously. Like, we're probably going to lead into Doomsday, but I feel like we, as fans, got shorted of true story because Marvel just decided we've got to do something. We got to do something quick. We got to fix this. We got to fix it quick. What is our solution? And the Russo brothers were like, hey, we got an idea here. Let's throw spaghetti at a fridge and see what sticks. And the Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom stuck. And although I'm not, like, shitting on it, I know Marvel's going to present us a good movie. Like, I have no doubt in my mind. Even the worst of the Marvel movies, which could arguably be some of the ones that we've gotten in this latest phase of the MCU, they were still good movies. Like, none of them were garbage. None of them were trash. I mean, you might feel like they were, but I feel like they were okay. So I have no doubt that the Russo brothers, who made, several phenomenal movies for Marvel already, and Kevin Feige, I have no doubt they're going to present us a good movie. I have no doubt that they're going to give us some great moments, that they're going to look at these characters they now get to play with from the Fox's X-Men universe and the Spider-Verse and things like that, and they're going to give us a movie that's going to be fun, exciting, that we're going to celebrate, that we're going to have a good time at. And that's not my problem. My problem is that it is all coming from the sacrifice of storytelling. And although I'm sure they're going to find a way to be able to tie it together and wrap it all up and get us a Secret Wars with a nice fucking bow on it, it's not the story they set out to tell. And course correcting, it's just the spaghetti noodle that stuck to the fridge. And I can't help but to think that way. And although, again, I'm still looking forward to Doomsday, I just think that it's coming at a sacrifice of a good story. Alright, the latest rumor news is surrounding God of War. Amazon picked up the rights. They brought in a great showrunner to come in and make God of War, and I am extremely looking forward to seeing Kratos on screen. I think that, from the very first God of War video game back on, what was it, the PlayStation 2? I can't remember. God of War has always intrigued me. Like, I love the mythology behind it. I love Kratos as a character. And, obviously with God of War and God of War Ragnarok, the latest two editions of the God of War franchise, it has catapulted its popularity. Like, those games are phenomenal. So I'm super excited to be able to see what they do to bring it on the big screen. And right now we have a lot of swirls of casting rumors on who could play Kratos in a God of War television show. So I want to present to you who I think my top 5 are who could play Kratos. At number 5, the number 5th actor that I think would be a great fan casting to be able to play Kratos in the live action God of War television show is Christopher Judge. Like, if you don't know who that is, just listen to Kratos' voice. That is the man who voices Kratos in the video games. And although physically, I mean, he's a big dude. Like, I'm sure he could figure that part out. The one thing that is very distinctive about Kratos is his personality and his voice. And I think you need to be able to have someone who can exude such an intimidating presence with just a few words. And Christopher Judge is that guy. Like, there's no doubt about it. Christopher Judge is that guy because he's been that guy. And I think he would do a great job in a live-action God of War movie. So, that was my number 5th pick. My number 4 pick on who I think could play Kratos in a live-action God of War, Joe Manganiello. Now, I think age-wise, he's getting there, because if you're looking at a Kratos, you want someone who's been a little bit older, who's weathered, who the world has beaten down, and he's just picked himself back up over and over again. But when you're talking about the physical physique, there's very few people who can play Kratos. And if you want someone who has the physicality to be able to play Kratos, but also has the ability to be able to present a good performance as an actor, I think Joe's the right guy. Not only that, what I love about him, though, is he's one of us. Like, he's a nerd to his core. And there's no doubt in my mind that he's a fan of the Kratos character and the mythology behind God of War. So I not only think that he would not only be a great pick, I think this would probably be a passion project for him. And I think it's spot on, if I'm being honest. All right, my number 3 pick on who I think that could play Kratos in a live-action God of War television show, in the live-action God of War television show. This one may be a little bit out of left field, but it's Tom Hardy. Now, I think that he's probably a little bit smaller, on the smaller side, when you're talking about people who could ultimately play Kratos. He will have to be able to work on his physicality, and I have no doubt in my mind he'll be able to do it. But there's just something about Tom Hardy that when he's on screen, his presence, like, he just commands the screen. And I think when you're looking at all the lore of God of War and everything that this show is going to bring and all the different characters it's going to bring from Greek mythology, you want someone who can stand on their own, and when they're on screen, you just feel the intimidation. And there's something about the look of Tom Hardy that I think is spot on for that. That's my number 3 pick. At number 2, my number 2 pick for who I think could play Kratos in this live-action God of War television show, Dave Bautista. Now, Dave Bautista, obviously best known for Drax. He's also done several other roles. He's a very good actor. Someone who's honestly worked really hard on that aspect of their career, on the other side of pro wrestling. And, recent pictures have shown that he's kind of slimmed down a little bit, probably for some other roles. But I got to tell you, like this dude's still a beast. And I have no doubt that even at his age, he would be able to bulk up and give us the physical presence we would need from a Kratos. But silence speaks gold, especially with Kratos, because he's a man of few words. And I think there's very few actors that could honestly just be there in silence and be intimidating, and I think Dave Bautista is one of them. So here it is. My number 1 choice on who I think should play Kratos in the live-action God of War show, it's Triple H. Paul Levesque. I think that Triple H, first of all, when you want to talk about actors who look like Kratos, like, Triple H is it. Especially now that he doesn't have hair and he's bald with the beard. Like, Triple H is it. And is he the world's best actor? He's not. Like, he's been in a few movies. Like, they tried to make him more of a star than what he was out of the WWE. But, look, like, with Kratos, the physicality is super important. And although some of my earlier picks, I talked about being able to have a good actor in there, if you write the script right and you put a surrounding cast around him who can really kind of help elevate his own performance, I think Triple H could deliver us a very, very good performance as Kratos. He's got the physicality, he's got the presence, he's got the look for sure. But obviously, again, the acting part of it, you're going to have to make some adjustments there. But with Kratos and everything that you're going to get with a God of War series, at least what we assume we're going to get from what we've gotten from the games, I think that someone like Triple H could be able to, on screen, be so physically imposing. And, the look that Triple H has right now, the dude's been through a lot. He's gotten his ass kicked over and over again in the WWE, and he's gotten back up, right? He's broken bones, he's hurt himself. Like he has the look of a weathered man and individual, and that's not a knock on him. Like, kudos to Triple H for everything he's done. But he clearly shows that he has, he's been through it. And I think that's what you need for Kratos. And so, out of all the actors, I don't know their personal lives, so I don't want to just assume. But I feel like Triple H also has the life experience that you're looking for when you're talking about a man trying to play Kratos. So, my number 1 is Triple H. So, going 5 to first. My top 5 picks to play Kratos again in this live-action God of War series. Number 5 was Christopher Judge, who is the original voice actor for Kratos. And that voice, I mean, gotta have that down, right? Number 4, Joe Manganiello. I think that he would not only bring the physicality, he would also bring the acting skills that you would want for it. But he is a true nerd, and I feel like, again, that this would be a passion project for him that he would really sink his teeth into. Number 3, Tom Hardy, solely because of his presence he has on screen. Anything he's in, he is just the center of attention. And I think in a game like, or in a show, like God of War, when you want a Kratos who literally the world revolves around him, and he doesn't want it, like, I think Tom Hardy's the guy. Number 2 was Dave Bautista, in large part because of the silence that you get with a Kratos character. He is a man of few words, and I think that Dave Bautista would be able to deliver some really unique performances as Kratos. And then my number 1 pick, Triple H. I think that, again, he not only brings the physicality, he's going to bring the on-screen presence that you want. He's not the world's greatest actor, but I think you can work around that with a character like Kratos. But I think that Triple H has the look down of a man who's been weathered and beaten and gotten back up. And that at its core is Kratos. And so I think that he would relate to the character very well. So there's my top 5. What do you think? Who do you think should play Kratos in this live-action God of War TV show? And are you excited for the show? Because I got to tell you, I cannot fucking wait to see Kratos on screen just delivering hell to people. I can't wait to see how the fucking Blades of Chaos I want to see how those look on screen. Is he, because he's obviously going to have that. He's probably going to have his axe as well. I can't wait for this show. All right, so in the world of random, I don't have anything. And it's not because there's aren't random stories out there and random news. Like, sure there are. Like, there's plenty of things that could be talked about. But this last week has been insane when it came to the violence and the social media toxicity that was out there surrounding the violence. I am not going to make this show ever political. I'm not going to step on my soapbox. I'm not going to talk about any political views or religious beliefs that I have in the vein of trying to force you to see them my way. I think that's silly. You have your own opinions, and I love that. I want to hear that. I would love to be able to have discussions with you about morality or about politics or religion and things like that when it can be a healthy discussion. But what was seen online from both sides of the political parties, what was seen online from both sides of the social dynamic was disgusting. And I don't care if you're right, left, red, blue, it was gross. And I think a lot of people were like me, and we were just trying to stay as far away from it as we possibly could. At the end of the day, I think it's sad that a man died and his family had to be able to go to sleep at night, and his little kids had to go to sleep tonight knowing that they're never going to see their dad again. I also think it was sad that on what appeared to be a subway or a train, a young lady was killed, and bystanders literally did nothing, and the individual just took off like nothing happened. I think that every time a school shooting happens, I think we point the finger and we try to place blame on everybody but ourselves. And so what I want to say about all of this is that all the randomness in our world can be fun, but it can also be devastating. What you decide to make of it is totally up to you. And for me, I've just decided, like, my social media content, I want it to be fun. I want it to not be about the shit going on in the world. But I also want it to be genuine and true, because I just want to be able to speak from the heart with my content. And so, but I can only give out what I consume, right? Like, and so I just made the conscious decision. I actually made this decision a few weeks ago, prior to all this happening. If you pop up on my For You page spreading negativity, I don't care if I believe everything you're saying from like a morality standpoint or a political standpoint or whatever. I don't care if I'm in agreement with you, but if you do it in a light that shits on other people, I'm going to block you. And does that matter to you? No, you don't know who the fuck I am. But I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it if you're on the right. I don't want to see it if you're on the left. I don't want to see it if you're in the middle and you're undecided on what you want to do and you just hate everybody. That negativity has got to go, and I'm done with it. So, not that I'm going to be ignorant to the problems of this world, because, you know, that's the worst thing you could do. You need to be educated. You need to know. You need to be able to be aware. But I don't have to digest it and take it all in and just allow that cancerous toxicity to fill my heart and my mind. I don't. So, as you step out into your world, I just encourage you to say no more. Like, I'm done. Like, there is no reason to have a conversation about the right or wrong of an individual taking another man's life or another woman's life. And there's no reason to have a debate on the right or wrong of people celebrating those deaths. There's no reason to have a conversation about the right or wrong about, you know, whether it's okay that people can have their firearms and step into schools and shooting and things like that. There's no reason to have those conversations and debates if you're not willing to listen to the other side, no matter what side you're on. Because those aren't debates. Those aren't conversations. Those are arguments. And the only time arguments are settled is when you can yell louder than the other person. And we've seen the outcome of that. So, with an open mind, if you are going to step out into the world and you want to see change, look at it from both sides, yours and the others. And understand that, like, there's got to be compromise. Is that ideal? Is that perfect? Should you give up your morals and your standards because of compromise? No, you shouldn't. But some of the drastic acts of individuals, people who decide to take it upon themselves to take other people's lives, people who do it just out of hate and vengeance and spitefulness, people who create content to celebrate that or to try to harm the individuals who are celebrating. It's all got to stop. So, uncharacteristically of my content, for anyone who's watching this, I just go out there and try to live the best life you can. Be aware. Try to make change when you can through kindness and love. And just remove yourself from the hate. Thank you guys for listening. This has been the Batman Drew the podcast. The Batman Drew podcast. I appreciate you guys for being here. If you've listened through the entirety of this podcast, you're amazing. And I just want to thank you. So, guys, I again just want you to remember to go like, subscribe, and all that other fun stuff. I would love to be able to pop up on your YouTube channel and be like, hey guys, watch me. And just remember that I will be here for this podcast every other week. Go check out my documentary that airs the first and third Tuesday of the month. And be on the lookout for all the other special content that I'm looking to be able to create. So I'll see you guys next time at the same Batman Drew time on the same Batman Drew channel. Thank you guys. But wait, there's more. So it's been a while since we've had a post-credit scene because I haven't had anything to tease. But what I am doing in approximately 10 minutes from now is I am recording one of my very first editorial videos. I'm going to have a special guest on, and we are going to go over our top 10 favorite games of all time. It's going to be fun. So, be on the lookout for that video to drop. Check it out, and thanks. I appreciate you being here.